So the Jacksonville Jaguars lose to the Washington Commanders today 22-28. Now, if you guys remember my score prediction, I had actually predicted that the Jaguars would win this game 26-20, so I was actually pretty close when it came to the score prediction. But I want to say congratulations to the Washington Commanders in getting their first win of the season. There was a lot of different things I took away from this game, but I'm going to start by talking about the Washington Commanders and what they did on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Then I'll talk about the good and the bad with the Jaguars, and I'll kind of wrap it up at the end. So let's get right into this recap video. So starting off on the Commanders' offensive side of the ball, I mean, honestly, what a good game from Carson Wentz, a guy who the Jaguars absolutely rattled in Week 18 of last season, and the Jaguars got that victory over the Indianapolis Colts. Carson Wentz in his Commanders debut was 27 of 41, 313 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Really, only one of those interceptions was pretty bad, coming off of Trayvon Walker. He really shouldn't have thrown that ball into traffic. Tyson Campbell made a nice play on that ball. But Carson Wentz was a solid and a very good quarterback overall for most part of the day. He had that deep shot down the sideline over to Terry McLaurin, and overall Carson Wentz just looked pretty poised in the pocket, and he looked like he was in command of this offense, no pun intended. Guys like Antonio Gibson did some really good things, 14 carries, 58 yards, and then the receiving game, really everybody came in and contributed on the Commanders' offensive side of the ball. You got Antonio Gibson, 7 catches, 72 yards out of the backfield. Terry McLaurin was relatively neutralized most of the game, but then he ended up finishing 2 catches, 58 yards on that one deep pass that he had to get that touchdown. Curtis Samuel was making plays all over the field, 8 catches, 55 yards, and a touchdown. And then Jahan Dotson, a guy who I was super high on coming out of Penn State this offseason. Their first round pick for the Washington Commanders was 3 catches, 40 yards, and 2 touchdowns, man. He had that game touchdown to take the lead at the very end of the game, man. Shout out to Jahan Dotson. And then transitioning to the Commanders' defense, man, they really didn't do anything too special. I mean, the defensive line was definitely getting after Trevor Lawrence and keeping him rattled a little bit. Jack Del Rio did a great job there as well, too. You did have that interception by Forrest at the end of the game to really seal it off. The Commanders' defense, I didn't think played exceptionally well, but they definitely did enough to keep the Jaguars limited, especially in that first half. So shout out to them. Now let's transition into the Jaguars side of things. We'll talk about the good and the bad. Let's start by talking about all of the bad takeaways that I had, and then we'll get into the good at the end. So starting off with the bad, I'm going to start off with Doug Peterson, some of the bad stuff that he did. Doug Peterson definitely was leaving some points out there on the board. So Doug Peterson, when it was 9-14, the Jaguars could have taken the extra point. I personally would have just taken the extra point right there in the third quarter, decided to go for 2, and we didn't get it. We left that extra point on the board. We missed that field goal. That's 4 points right there we left. And then also on the offensive side of the ball, Travis Etienne dropping that pass in order to get that touchdown, which he probably would have had right there. Leave points right there on the board. Zay Jones drops the ball on 3rd down in the end zone. Couldn't have thrown that ball any better. Drops it. Trevor Lawrence overthrows both Marvin Jones Jr. and Travis Etienne in the first half. A little bit of inconsistencies there, man. Trevor Lawrence has got some things to clean up as well, too. And then on the defensive side of the ball, something I don't know if it was Mike Caldwell calling the plays on defense and what the Jaguars were doing, but consistently on 3rd down, if you go back to the first half and even in the second half, the Jaguars are running on 3rd down, man-to-man coverage, press coverage, and there's too many rub routes that are being called by Ron Rivera, whoever the offensive coordinator is for the Washington Commanders, and they are getting these guys open. When you saw Andre Cisco get beat on that first touchdown for the Commanders, clearly a rub route. You get these guys in man coverage, press to press, and Cinco Cisco has to get out off that rub route because it's a pick route, and he gets it. Saw the same thing in the first half. I believe it was Curtis Samuel getting a pass out there to the left, coming over the middle of the field on that inside route, about a 5-yard in. Same thing, rub routes, press man-to-man coverage. You got to change that up. If you do the same things, you're going to get the same results, okay? I'm not the one out there calling the plays, but if I can call this from my living room and I know what's schematically going to happen, there's a problem. And then the last thing with the bad, I'll say in general, was Ben Bartch did not play up to standard, did not play well at all in the interior of the offensive line. There was too many penalties. We had over double-digit penalties in this game. Some of those I thought were fixable. Some false starts, some neutral zone infractions. Definitely didn't like what I saw there. Devin Lloyd looked a little bit lost out there at times. Majority, he didn't play very well, but you know what? It's his first NFL game. I'll cut Devin Lloyd some slack as well, too. And then also the corners in the first half just were not playing physical enough, weren't making open field tackles. You got to clean that up and get ready for week 2. Now let's talk about the good with the Jaguars, and I'm going to start on the offensive side of the ball. Let's really just talk about Doug Peterson allowing Trevor Lawrence to take deep shots down the field, something that a lot of Jaguar fans really didn't get to see much of last season. Trevor Lawrence, while he was off the mark on a couple of deep passes, that bomb to Christian Kirk over the middle middle was a thing of beauty. And while he did overthrow Marvin Jones earlier in the game, you love to see Trevor Lawrence utilize his arm strength ability and push the ball down the field. That was something I love to see. Over 100+ yards in his Jaguars debut. Keep that same energy, keep that same narrative with the Jaguars, reset the wide receiver market, overpaying Christian Kirk. What a game by him. What a game by Zay Jones, man, coming in, making some great, solid contributions. And shout out to the running game and James Robinson and Travis Etienne coming back off of injury. James Robinson, 11 carries, 66 yards, 6 yards per carry. 1 rushing touchdown, 1 catching touchdown for James Robinson. Travis Etienne getting involved in the rushing game. 4 rushes for 47 yards. That's 11.8 yards per carry. There was definitely some good things I saw on the offense, but there's a lot of things that need to be cleaned up, and red zone efficiency is one of them. 3 trips to the red zone in the first half, only 3 points. Take your points when you can get them. Take your points when you can get them. Like I said, I'm not the coach. I'm not the one that's getting paid, a big fat contract out here, but if I can schematically see what's going on and I can identify a situation, there's a problem here, okay? Take the points when you can get them. And then on the Jaguars defensive side of the ball, man, dude, #1 overall pick, Trayvon Walker, you are special, man. In his NFL debut, we get a sack and we get an interception out of him. You can't script that any better, man. He showed some flashes. There was a lot of times out there he did look gassed if you paid attention over on the edge. But Trayvon Walker, man, what a game. Give a round of applause, man, to Trayvon Walker, man. That kid is special, and shout out to him. Shout out to Tyson Campbell for that big-time interception. I thought Shaq Griffin, if you guys paid attention, was playing a great game. He had some miscues. Rayshawn Jenkins came over into the box, and Shaq Griffin thought he had safety help over the top. That was a miscommunication there. And then also Shaq Griffin on that Terry McLaurin touchdown thought he had Andre Sisco over the top to help him in that cover 3 defense. That's just little miscommunication stuff that needs to be cleaned up. Overall, Shaq Griffin was playing terrific lockdown defense this game. I don't care what you guys say. If you guys were paying close attention to what Griffin was doing, he was playing a phenomenal game. Darius Williams, you got to clean some stuff up out there. He made some plays here and there, but overall, Darius Williams looks like a guy who hasn't played in 9 months. Overall, I'm not horribly, down bad on the team. I do think that there was a lot of flashes here and there. And honestly, Jaguar fans, we left a lot of points on the board. Talk about a missed field goal, not going for the extra point. And also Travis Etienne and Zay Jones dropping a potential touchdown in the end zone. There was a lot of great things to take away from this game. There was a lot of bad things. I'm not giving the Jaguars a moral victory. Doug Peterson's got to clean some stuff up as well too. Mike Caldwell's got to make some adjustments defensively. But overall, I'd give this game a 5 out of 10 for the Jaguars. We were competitive. We went down to the wire. That's more than I can ask for in the last decade of Jaguars football, essentially. Not a bad game, not a great game. I give the Jaguars a 5 out of 10 on this performance. But Jaguars fans and Commanders fans, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. This is a safe space, so please feel free to vent and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. This is just my honest and transparent thoughts about this game. Some good stuff and some bad stuff that I took away from this game. And I will be making a preview video for the Colts game this weekend, and I'm super excited to be driving back up to Jacksonville. I'm going to have a great time. I cannot wait to take on the Indianapolis Colts and the Jaguars to go 1-1 in this game. But please be respectful in the comments down below if you guys are going to vent. That's all I ask for. But if you guys did enjoy today's video, man, make sure you guys drop me a thumbs up. It takes 1 second and it helps me the channel out tremendously. And if you guys are new here, consider hitting that subscribe bell to stay tuned for more NBA, Jaguars, and now UCF content that I do here on YouTube. And make sure y'all go follow me on my socials, especially on Twitter. I'm active and I'm on there every single day. So make sure y'all go follow me on Twitter. The link tree will be in the description down below. But thanks again for sticking around throughout the whole video. Brett James, aka BJ, go Jags, baby. We're gonna beat the Colts in week 2. Peace!